that being said, I was like, yeah, bravo to this guy, because I think more people in ministry and stuff like that have this kind of medium should use it for what it's traditionally used for, which is to help and inform the people.
My observation of churches in this community and nationwide is that they have capitulated to try to reconcile themselves to the world. They want to be well thought of. They want to be in.
What's the secret of Clyde May's whiskey? Clyde May himself.
So you've described the trinity of evil as Obama, Oprah, and Jeremiah Wright.
Yeah, it's going back a couple of years now. I said that, yeah.
Well, explain.
Well, they come out of the Trinity United Church of Now Evil. That it says its official name that they are registered under is the Trinity United Church of Christ. But they were all three in that church. Oprah was there for a while. She left early. Obama was there 20 years. Jeremiah Wright was there until actually he got bumped because of Obama. The three of them, all evil, all in Chicago, all in the same nest, all in the same hellhole.
Evil in what way are you saying?
Diabolical, sinister. They would never go out and rob a grocery store. But the robbing of humanity and dignity that they do, the robbing of the minds, the washing of the minds of the people in Chicago, people look up to Oprah as if she's some sort of a person that is special, and whatever she says just causes them to bow down and worship. But now Obama, the same thing. Jeremiah Wright had 8,000 people coming to hear him preach. He was preaching a preaching that was evil, evil in the sense of diabolical, but for the purpose of manipulate. When you manipulate people away from truth, away from their own righteousness, away from their own well-being, when you manipulate a person into something, whether it's you call it a mind game or a con game, that's evil. And I think the worst thing you can do is take a person's individuality and their liberty through their mind. And that's what Obama does, that's what Jeremiah Wright does, that's what Oprah Winfrey does. And she manipulates a whole lot of white people too, by the way.
Okay, well, now here's where we're going to talk a little bit about, certain things that you might say that people might feel are unsubstantiated. Okay. I even want to know, like, okay, where are you getting this from? See, and before we go into this, it's like, you have people who are called conspiracy theorists, right?
Right.
But there's also conspiracy practice. Okay? There's actually conspiracies out there going on being practiced. Now, the conspiracy theorists, sometimes they're on the heels of the ones doing the practice.
Right.
But sometimes people just pull some shit out their ass. Excuse my expression.
I've heard the expression before.
And throw it on the wall and see if it sticks. So some of that is used to make the real conspiracy theorists look like they're crazy. Okay? Now, so this is why when we come with certain information, if we truly believe it's true, we have to be able to substantiate it in some kind of way. You got to show me some sort of, some sort of evidence that this is there. If you can't show me the cancer directly, show me that the guy's losing weight.
Right. I got you.
And I'll maybe say, okay.
I got you.
So, just like earlier, you said Mark Lamont Hill is gay. I don't know him to be gay. This is the first time I ever heard that.
Is he married?
I don't know. I don't know his personal life like that. This is what I'm just saying. This is the first time I ever heard that.
Okay, we're going to deal with it.
We're going to move on. Because you also said that Obama is gay. Now, he is married. How do you know that he's gay? Like, how could you say it with certainty?
You know, my uncle used to say in North Carolina, he could tell a gay person by the top of their head from a mile away.
That's not good. That's not good.
It may not be the best proof.
No, what I'm saying is that's not good on you. Who said that? Your uncle?
Yeah.
Do you know what he's trying to say? You could tell by the top of their head.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that, but let me say that
my viewers know what I'm talking about. That's not good.
Here's the deal. There's
before we start this video, make sure you turn on post notifications if you really banging in this thing, get to it, man. So Bosco just reacted to 6ix9ine.
Word's getting around. It's proven. No other gasoline gets you better mileage than Shep.
Away.
That's not good. That's not good.
It may not be the best proof.
No, what I'm saying is that's not good on you. Who said that? Your uncle?
Yeah.
Do you know what he's trying to say? You could tell by the top of their head.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that, but let me say that
my viewers know what I'm talking about. That's not good.
Here's the deal. There are certain traits that people have. There's a word I've been looking for the last couple of days. I can't figure out what it is.
Effeminate? No.
For instance, preachers act a certain way. They kind of talk a certain way.
Certain charisma.
There's a word. It's not charisma. It's, God, I can't think of the word. Muslims have a persona about them. If they've been in the nation for any period of time, there's a certain way that they kind of
move,
articulate.
Stand. I understand what you're saying.
There's a certain way of behavior that sodomites have that distinguishes who they are and what they do and what they believe. Obama has that about him. It's very clear. But there has been information documented, and I forget the name of the person who has documented the fact that Obama. Well, first of all, I met Larry Sinclair, who claims that Obama and he had a sexual affair when Obama was just a state senator in Chicago, that he and Obama had a sexual affair. I met him. I was at his press conference in Washington, D.C. at the press club. When he made those statements public, I believe him. Larry's an avowed homosexual. He knows he's a sodomite. He's been that way all his life. And they said Obama picked him up in a bar. Obama said to him, "Do you want to do this?" He said, "Well, I need a few lines to wake me up." Obama supplied him with cocaine, the lines, or whatever it is that they do, and they went off and did it. That's one substantiated evidence, and I trust that. But there are other things that he does that, for instance, you would never support legislation. You would never allow sodomites to reach the level of publicity and power and authority they have right now, because that's not in your spirit. And you pointed up the two ways in which sodomites, first of all, perceive themselves as such. Then they impose that thought, as you said, upon me, want to make me feel the same way. Well, that's what Obama does. That's what Obama has been doing, because he has that mindset. He may be cool enough to mask some of his behavior with his wife, but trust me, the boy is a homo.
I mean, I don't trust none of these dudes as far as I can throw them. You know what I mean? I wouldn't doubt that everything you're saying is true, but at the same time, you have to have shreds of doubt with certain things. What I will say is the homos have gotten a lot more out of his presidency than black people have.
You got that right. Go tell them, by the way. I hope they hear you.
Now, and it's crazy because we've been here how many years? 400 some odd years?
That's right.
This damn gay rights thing basically started in the 70s when they went and harassed the psychiatrists and psychologists and all, and went to their meetings and made them change their manual on what is it's called the DSM, their manual on what is a mental illness, and they made them take sexuality out of that book, not because they found any new findings, just out of bullying them. Basically, what they are
bullies, by the way.
Oh, they are the biggest bullies on the planet Earth right now, and it's crazy. So that being said, they have now latched on to this whole civil rights approach to trying to get the things that they want. But it's like, hold up, wait your turn. Like if you really do want this, if this is something, well then wait your turn, because we've been here 400 years. How y'all getting all of this so fast? And especially on a so-called black president's watch. Like,
let me ask you a question. If the 5%ers had an issue, and I want you to think about it in this context, if they had an issue that they wanted to develop them, and you had the power to issue it to them, and let's say an Asian people with an engineering school idea, who would you attend to first, the Asians or the 5%ers?
Of course, the 5%ers.
Of course. So if Obama's attending to the homosexuals after 400 years of slavery, Jim Crow, and everything else, yet he values that more than them, what does that tell you?
Well, but see, that could also say that he has no real power, and that he was just a puppet put here to take the brunt of our anger for a lot of this stuff they're getting ready to pass. These aren't his ideas. All of this stuff was mapped out before he even got into office.
I've been talking to you for an hour or so now. When you say something that's of your particular belief that you're willing to die for, it shows up on your face. You have a way of doing that, and everybody else who not guarded or not acting the same thing. It's on his face, this thing supporting him. So forget about the fact that he's a puppet for somebody else. He very well may be, but he loves this puppy, this homosexuality.
Okay, I'll take that. Okay, here's something. Here's something that I heard you say that I thought was kind of, all right, now where's he getting this one from? You said that Starbucks put gay semen in their coffee. Bruh. Now, you see, and it's not that it can't happen, but it's like, where does the information come from, and what proof do we have, so that it's not going to make us sound like we crazy if we try to go tell something, yo, you know they put gay semen in Starbucks coffee? Like, oh yeah? What's your proof? Well, that's what Pastor Manning told me. What's his proof?
Well, I tried to give context by saying that in the turn of last century, Coca-Cola first began to bottle its drink.
Coke in Coca-Cola is cocaine.
In there, which made it very addictive, made it taste very good, and it became a mega seller. You know, Dunkin' Donuts sells coffee, but not at the latte and cappuccino and the prices or the attraction of
there's a Dunkin' Donuts everywhere you go nowadays.
Yeah, but they're not as popular, as powerful as Starbucks. What makes Starbucks...
Not as expensive. They might be more popular.
Well, okay, I'll give you that. But what makes Starbucks coffee so appealing, and so appealing to a certain type of taste?
Because yuppie white people like it.
Okay, all right. But let's say, for instance, that, there's this fellow named Folger who claims that he lost 200 pounds on a Subway diet.
Right.
Is now on the investigation for child porn.
Right.
They went through his house, his computers. The guy's probably involved in child porn. I don't know it to be a fact.
Right.
But corporations looking for an edge will cross over the line to make synthetic type of sperm and put it as a part of their process. We don't know what goes into Coca-Cola. We don't know what goes into Kentucky Fried.
Well, we don't know what goes into any of this processed food.
Yeah, but Starbucks in particular is using this product. They're manufacturing.
How do you know?
It was first put out as, I think, as a spoof on Starbucks. It wasn't. It was...
You said a spoof?
Well, it was put out as something that was not correct. It's a spoof on Starbucks.
Okay.
And then when the pressure came, such as what you're advancing towards me, they recanted, backed up and said, "Oh, we were just joking. We didn't really mean that. We were just having fun with Starbucks. That's not true." They'd never do anything like that under pressure.
Right.
I'm not backing down.
See, I just feel like we have to be careful. This goes back to the conspiracy theorists and all that, because stuff like this, you know, I don't know if they are. I mean, I'm not a big Starbucks drinker, although I do drink coffee, and I have gone to Starbucks, and God damn it, I better not find out there's no fucking gay semen in my coffee.
Well, stop going then.
I go to Dunkin' Donuts more.
You're better off there yourself.
We don't know that either, though.
No, you don't.
You see what I'm saying? We don't necessarily know, and at the end of the day, I'm not going to obsess and fear over a bunch of hypotheticals. Oh my God, what if there's this and that? I mean, there could be all types of stuff and a lot of stuff we do. I mean, they gave the Indians blankets with smallpox. You know what I mean? That wasn't even something you were supposed to ingest. That's just something that came in contact with your skin.
I'm sure you heard what happened down in Tuskegee as well.
Of course, they
and if you had told the people there, or even some of the doctors and nurses who were involved in the process, that that's what they were doing,
right,
they would have denied
you were crazy.
Said, yeah. Mm-hmm. So corporate America will do anything. Trust me.
Okay. That black people never did anything before slavery? That we never built a boat that was seaworthy? Brother.
You know, that phrase resonates very well. It must have been the way I said it, like the itch and then hell. No, black people are the sons of Ham. They built the pyramids. They built the most mechanized army, the greatest social
system. We are the fathers and mothers of civilization.
But below sub-Sahara Africa went absolutely blank. Nothing.
Below sub-Sahara?
Below the Sahara Desert in Africa.
Okay.
Sub-Sahara, all the nations below the sub-Sahara Desert that runs from west to east in Africa, and to some degree, they have done nothing.
I don't think you're correct about that. Would Nubia be sub-Sahara?
No, they would be Egyptians. They were a part of the Egyptians.
Well, no, they started. They are the actual ones that ended up being the ones who built up the Egyptians. But Nubia was something separate, and it was more to the south. And I believe it might have been sub-Saharan Africa.
No, if you check
where was Timbuktu?
Timbuktu was southeast. Southwest Africa.
I was going to say it was in the west.
Yeah, it's
okay. Is Nigeria sub-Saharan? Because Nigeria was a great kingdom too.
Yeah, you know, you're right in terms of great kingdoms. But what I was expressing with 75,000 miles of seashore, to have not built a seaworthy vessel.
That's not true, though.
But you can't name it that they did.
But how do you think Columbus got here? Okay. He got here with the maps that came from the Moors, who are black people, because we were already over here. There's maps of over here before Columbus and all that.
You know, I think that oftentimes in our quest to build a history.
Yeah, brother. I need my military cats in there. You dig? Because we need to know what's going on with some of these white supremacists coming out of the military. There's just a lot of stuff we need to know. I need my doctors, my herbalists, natural charm, people like that, people who know medicine and herbs. We need to know all this stuff so we can chop up game. I need motivated people in this thing. I don't want people who just want to shoot the breeze. I want to be very clear. We're going to have to be bringing ideas, thoughts, and solutions. You know, Aki's already in there. You know, I know Aki. My man Rob Willie, he's in there. My man Uncut, he's in there. It's for men and women, absolutely. Women can, absolutely. We definitely want the sisters in there. We absolutely. Yes, we do. We want the sisters in there, but this ain't no gossip thing. Understand? We ain't gonna be talking about weaves and edges and Nicki Minaj and all that shit. No. We're gonna have some real people with some real conversation in there who can bring some thought and some ideas and help really bubble on some solutions on what we need to do. You understand? I need my researchers in there. I need cats who know how to research. You understand? Because we need to talk about what's going on and what the real deal is. If I want to, like, if a story comes out about some kind of food giving somebody cancer, I want some of my herbalists, some of my naturopathy doctors to come in and say, hey, this is what we need to avoid. And then we'll leave the group and we'll distribute that information on our platforms. But we got to have a central place where we can chop a game about what's what. You understand? That's why we need some good, thorough researchers in there. I need my military cats in there who understand. A lot of military guys understand gun laws in certain places. We need to understand that. We need to understand what these laws are and what we need to do to protect ourselves and sidetrack how some of these laws are worked against us. Like, for example, you know that dude, Officer Yanez, who killed our brother Philando Castile up there in Minnesota. This guy was going through some kind of military police training called Bulletproof Warriors, and there's this training thing where they go around basically teaching police officers how to kill people and get away with it. I want my military cats in there to let us know about some of these. You understand? I need my military cats to, because I know y'all hear about certain things. And I need my military cats to let us know what type of little groups are out here low-key working against us. You understand? Yes. Aki, are you in here? Is Aki in the room? Because they took Aki off of Twitter as an excuse to come down and try to occupy and stand up militarily to the black people in South Central LA. They thought they were going to come down here.
Well, you know, when you talk about even the Jesus thing, you know, when in American society, Western society as a whole, when you see the depiction of Jesus as a white man, as someone who's been to Jerusalem, who's been to Egypt,
and Ethiopia, and South Africa,
there are no white people in that region.
Yeah.
You know, just based on the climate alone, it's not designed for fair skin and straight hair and so forth. So there's no way that Jesus could have been a white man. It's just not possible because there are just no white people in that area. But yet, when you look at the popular depiction of Jesus, it's a white guy. Long, straight hair, even though it says hair of wool in the Bible.
That's
and so
right.
forth.
And you're going to have black people say it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what race he is. But everybody else is going to have a deity made in and after their image and likeness, except for us.
Yeah.
But then the worst part is, after we adopt the new color, is the narrative accurate? And do we even care to peruse through the narrative? You feel me? Like if I go to Matthew chapter 1 verse 23 and I see the word virgin there, and they talking about Emmanuel and Jesus being born, and then I see the word virgin there, and then I go into a Greek concordance and I look up the word virgin, and then I see in the Greek that the word that they're using for virgin just means an unmarried woman. Then the Virgin Mary isn't necessarily,
it changes
represents a immaculate conception.
Yeah.
It means a woman
who's not married,
who had this child. But you know, I will get cursed at and I'll be disrespected. But I will also say, it's not me. In any one of the Bibles you choose to read, if you get one that has a corresponding concordance, you can look up the concordance number and you can see what the words actually translate to be. And thus, no matter what, they say, not in my Bible, that's okay. But in everyone's concordance, it's going to have the same definitions. So doesn't matter if your Bible or my Bible's different. Let's look up the concordance number from which these English words derive so we can come to our own definitive conclusion as to what this means and represents. And then when we look up the word, the virgin just simply means the unmarried woman. What are we going to do with that? Are we going to accept it now that there was no immaculate conception as far as that doctrine is concerned? And then we got to ask, so then where did we get the idea from in the first place? African archetypes of conception. Now we're going to have to go back to Egypt. Now we're going to have to go back to even some of the Sumerian doctrine. We have to go back because this is where these people's information was drafted out of. And then they haven't been given credit for what they gave the world. You feel what I'm saying? And the people that took it didn't stay long enough to understand it. So we wind up giving birth to a bunch of misconceptions and they being perpetuated through different religious sects and denominations. So the concept is all about intuitive intelligence and objective intelligence. And this was expounded upon through R.S. Swallow-Delubis' book, Symbol or Symbolic. And R.S. Swallow-Delubis breaks down one of the papyrus of Annie, where he shows you the Ikea lions, one on the left and one on the right, and it says, belongs to me is yesterday. Yes, to me belongs yesterday, and tomorrow I know. And that's the doctrine of simultaneity or simultaneity. And it looks like simultaneous. And what you see is they're breaking down the principle of the moment. And in order to establish the moment, the paradox is not to deal with it immediately, but to deal with the aspect of yesterday and tomorrow. How would you know tomorrow through the reflection from yesterday? So when we understand that, we only doing this to arrive at how do we assimilate or process that which we can't see or know, but still bear witness to it that is real? Well, in our ancient African mystery systems, we were able to address this already. Like, for instance, the way they depicted was mistranslated as God, which we identified as nature, which were principles of the same consciousness. So all of this is one consciousness. Whether you see in birds, bees, fish, or what have you, it's all one consciousness. And each entity is endowed with a specific faculty that we can observe so we can rationalize that in which we all derive. So we look at the flag. The flag was used to represent nature, or that supreme being aspect, which people mistranslate as God. Well, why the flag? Well, when the wind blows and it hits the flag, guess what happens? It moves. And thus we realize that which we can't see is having an impact on the physical world. When the flag moves, we know something we can't see is having an impact on the physical world. So that's how we describe that which has an impact on the physical world that may not be seen, but is felt. So now we look at the circle as a form of objective intelligence, right? Or intuitive intelligence. We can't really know for sure that the circle exists if we were to use it based on arithmetic. Why? Because it's composed of an irrational number. 3.14159 run on pi. So we have to use the symbol pi to denote what? It's synthesis. The purpose of a symbol is to establish synthesis. Synthesis is a collection of ideas that helps us understand the system at work and or the theory that it is beholden to. So we look at the square and we can evaluate the square. But we look at the circle and we have to feel a way about it. And what I mean by that is it is irrational numbers that determines the area of the circle. But that's intuitive intelligence. But objectively, we can take the apex of a triangle and draw a circle around the points of the three apex or vertices of the triangle, and then we'll get a circle. Or we can go from the center point of the circle, draw out the radius, half the diameter, and draw a circle around it. Then we could say, you know what, that also equals a circle. Then we can also understand a line is 180 degrees, and we draw an arc, that'd be 360. And then we can reciprocate the same, and that will, draw an arc, that'd be 180, and we can reciprocate the same, and that'd be 360. But if we were to try to use arithmetic, we would have the coefficient represented by pi. And we would have to say it's an irrational number that we cannot complete. It's not a whole integer. An irrational number is the best we can do to create a circle, which means the circle's in speculation unless we use objective intelligence. And all we realize is this is the working model for the spirit realm. The circle represents spirituality, and we can bear witness to the circle as reflective of that which is transpiring spiritually because of its counterpart, the square. Why are they counterparts? They're fraternal twins. The circle is equal to 360 degrees and the square is equal to 360 degrees. Yet they don't look alike. So one must exist on one plane where the rules are different, and the other one exists on another plane where the rules are different. Objective and intuitive intelligence. This is the way the ancestors thought. So they put everything based on their apperception, based on their cognizance of what was going on in their environment. They looked at the trees, they looked at the birds, and they said this to themselves. Birds make up what? 10% of the oxygen that we breathe. They're contributing to the human paradigm. Just think about this. This is why it's all one mind. It's not different. All animals on life is part of man consciousness. It's not one consciousness. It's one consciousness. It's not broken up into the different divisions and sets that we see. So we look at bees, and when they can't find their way back to the hive, that's called colony collapse disorder, right? And our cell phones is doing it, and the wireless systems is throwing off their navigations. And what we're doing is compromising the integrity of our ability to breathe because they accommodate for 10% of that which we breathe in. So that's bees. We look at ants. Ants burrow into the ground, but it makes the ground porous enough so there can be air there so plants can grow. That's amazing. We look at a jellyfish that has no brain, but it's alive. But it consumes the microorganisms that had the jellyfish not existed in the sea. Anything that we eat from out the sea, whether it's fish or seaweed, whatever the case may be, we would die because of the jellyfish is not in the sea, consuming the dangerous, detrimental microorganisms that would kill us. The jellyfish are not there, we would die. So what's the model? What is the working model? Everything seems to be working to the better advantage of man to progress consciously. You see what I'm saying? It can't be by accident. You name anything on planet Earth, and I'm going to show you how it's connected to man. So man conspired these different events to advance himself, being part of a consciousness that bear witness to itself, which caused